When he was leader of the opposition, the Prime Minister said, and I quote, "I never turn on my staff. When they make mistakes, I carry the case."
Britain is in shock right now. A decision that no one expected has just shaken the country's leadership. Reports claim the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom has ordered Prime Minister Keir Starmer to step down immediately. The news spread within minutes, creating confusion, fear, and serious questions about the future of the nation. How did this happen? Why would a court take such a powerful step? And what does this mean for Britain's government and its people? Let's break down the full story behind this dramatic moment. The situation began with a sudden announcement that quickly turned into one of the most talked about political developments in recent British history. According to early reports, the country's highest legal authority issued a decision that directly challenges the leadership of the sitting Prime Minister. This kind of action is extremely rare and has sent shockwaves through the political system. The Supreme Court is the highest court in Britain. Its role is to make final decisions on legal disputes, interpret the law, and make sure the government follows the constitution and legal rules. Normally, the court stays separate from day-to-day politics, but in this situation, the court's reported decision has placed it at the centre of a major national crisis. Sources suggest the ruling is connected to a serious legal dispute involving government actions and questions about whether proper legal limits were followed. While full details are still emerging, the case reportedly focused on whether certain decisions made by the government crossed legal boundaries. After reviewing the case, judges are said to have reached a conclusion that triggered immediate consequences for the country's leadership. The speed of the announcement surprised many observers. Political experts say such decisions usually come after long legal battles and careful review, but the sudden nature of this ruling created a sense of urgency across the nation. News channels quickly switched to breaking coverage. Social media exploded with reactions. Government offices faced immediate pressure to respond. At the centre of the storm is the Prime Minister himself. As head of government, he holds the highest political office in the country and is responsible for leading national policy, managing crises, and representing Britain on the global stage. Any legal challenge to this position naturally creates deep uncertainty about leadership and stability. Reports indicate the court's decision may question the legal standing of recent government actions or leadership authority. If confirmed, this could force a major change in power and open the door to new leadership arrangements. Such a situation would not only affect political figures, but could also influence economic confidence, public trust, and international relations. The announcement has also raised serious constitutional questions. Many people are asking how far the court's power extends and what this means for the balance between law and political leadership. Britain's system depends on clear limits between institutions, and when those limits are tested, the entire structure faces pressure. Inside government circles, emergency discussions reportedly began almost immediately after the news broke. Senior officials, legal advisors and political leaders started reviewing the ruling and considering possible responses. The situation remains fluid and different interpretations of the decision continue to appear. Meanwhile, citizens across the country are trying to understand what this means for their future. For many people, the idea that a court ruling could remove a sitting Prime Minister feels shocking and unexpected. It raises concerns about stability, leadership, and the direction of the country in the coming days. What makes this moment even more dramatic is the timing. Britain is already facing economic pressures, social challenges, and global political tensions. A sudden leadership crisis at such a time could increase uncertainty both at home and abroad. As more details continue to emerge, one thing is clear. This is not just a normal political disagreement. It is a major legal and political moment that could reshape the country's leadership and change the direction of national policy. And this is only the beginning of the story. The real question now is how political leaders, government institutions, and the public will react to this shocking development. The reported court decision did not just create legal debate. It triggered immediate political chaos across the country. Within minutes of the news spreading, government buildings, political offices, and media networks entered crisis mode. The entire political system suddenly faced a moment of deep uncertainty, with leaders scrambling to understand what happens next. Inside government circles, emergency meetings were reportedly called as officials tried to assess the situation. Senior ministers gathered to discuss possible responses, legal options, and the future of national leadership. The atmosphere was tense, with many officials unsure about who would hold authority if the ruling fully takes effect. Such confusion at the top levels of government can quickly affect the entire system of decision-making. Members of Parliament reacted strongly. Some political figures demanded immediate clarity, while others called for calm and respect for legal processes. Different parties began forming their own strategies, preparing for possible changes in power. The situation quickly turned into a battle of political messaging, with leaders trying to shape public opinion and protect their positions. Opposition groups moved fast to respond. Some leaders described the situation as proof of serious problems within the government, while others warned that the country must avoid instability. Public statements, press conferences, and interviews followed one after another, showing clear divisions across the political landscape. Outside the halls of power, public reaction grew rapidly. Citizens across the country expressed shock, confusion, and concern about what the future holds. Large crowds reportedly gathered in major cities, discussing the situation and demanding answers. Some people called for accountability, while others expressed support for the government, showing how deeply divided public opinion has become. Media coverage intensified the sense of urgency. Major news channels provided non-stop updates, legal experts shared their views, and political analysts debated possible outcomes. Headlines described the situation as a historic moment, emphasising how rare and serious such a crisis could be. The constant flow of information kept the public focused on every new development. Financial markets also reacted to the growing uncertainty. Investors typically seek stability, and sudden political crises often create fear about economic direction. Reports suggest that concerns about leadership changes and policy uncertainty began affecting market confidence, showing how political events can quickly influence economic conditions. The situation has also raised concerns about a possible power vacuum. When leadership authority becomes unclear, government operations can slow down or face disruption. Important decisions related to national security, economic policy, and public services may be delayed while officials wait for clarity. This creates risks not only for political stability, but also for everyday governance. International observers are closely watching the developments. Foreign governments and global institutions depend on stable leadership when working with national partners. A sudden political crisis can raise questions about future agreements, diplomatic relations, and global cooperation. This means the effects of the situation could extend far beyond national borders. Legal experts continue to debate what the ruling actually means in practice. Some argue that the government may challenge the decision or seek alternative legal paths. Others believe the situation could lead to immediate leadership change. The lack of clear answers has increased tension and speculation across the country. What makes this crisis especially powerful is the speed at which it unfolded. Within a very short time, the nation moved from normal political activity to a full-scale leadership emergency. The rapid shift has left many institutions struggling to adapt and respond. For ordinary citizens, the biggest concern is stability. People want to know who is in charge, what decisions will be made, and how the crisis will affect their daily lives. Uncertainty about leadership often leads to fear about economic conditions, public services, and the country's future direction. At the same time, some voices are calling for unity and calm. They argue that strong institutions and legal systems exist to handle such crises, and that the country must follow established processes to restore stability. These calls highlight the importance of trust in national institutions during moments of uncertainty. One thing is clear: the political landscape has changed dramatically in a very short time. The crisis has exposed deep tensions within the system and raised serious questions about leadership, authority, and the balance of power. As the country struggles to understand the crisis, attention is now turning to one critical question: what happens next? With leadership under pressure and political uncertainty growing, Britain now faces several possible paths that could shape its future in the coming weeks and months. One immediate possibility is the appointment of temporary leadership. In times of political crisis, governments often move quickly to ensure stability by assigning interim authority to senior officials. This helps maintain government operations while legal and political questions are resolved. Such a step would aim to prevent disruption in public services, national security decisions, and economic management. Another important factor is the constitutional role of King Charles III. Under Britain's political system, the monarch plays a formal role in government transitions, including the appointment of a prime minister. If leadership changes become necessary, this process could involve consultations with political leaders to determine who can command support in Parliament. While these procedures follow established traditions, the current situation could test the system in unexpected ways. There is also growing discussion about the possibility of a general election. When a country faces major political instability, elections are sometimes called to allow the public to decide who should lead. Such a vote would give citizens direct power to shape the future government. However, organising a national election takes time and resources, and the decision to call one depends on many political and legal factors. Political parties are already preparing for different outcomes. Some are positioning themselves for potential leadership contests, while others are strengthening alliances in case power shifts quickly. Behind the scenes, negotiations and strategy discussions are likely taking place as leaders try to secure their positions in an uncertain environment. The crisis could also have serious economic effects. Political stability plays a major role in investor confidence and business planning. When leadership becomes unclear, financial markets often react with caution. Businesses may delay decisions, investors may become uncertain, and economic growth could face pressure. For ordinary citizens, this may lead to concerns about jobs, prices, and financial security. On the global stage, international partners are watching the situation closely. Britain plays a major role in global diplomacy, trade, and security cooperation. A sudden change in leadership could affect ongoing agreements, foreign policy decisions, and international partnerships. World leaders may wait for clarity before making major commitments or negotiations. The situation could also reshape the future of British politics in the long term. Major crises often lead to reforms, legal changes, or new rules designed to prevent similar conflicts in the future. Lawmakers may review the balance of power between courts, government, and political institutions. Such changes could influence how the country is governed for many years. Public trust is another major concern. During times of political crisis, confidence in leadership and institutions can be tested. The way officials handle this situation, whether through transparency, cooperation, or conflict, may shape how citizens view their government in the future. Restoring stability and public confidence will likely become a top priority. Meanwhile, legal challenges and appeals could still emerge. Government representatives may attempt to challenge or review the ruling through available legal processes. If this happens, the crisis could continue for an extended period, keeping the country in a state of uncertainty while courts and political leaders seek resolution. Experts say the coming days will be critical. Decisions made during this period could determine whether the country moves towards stability or deeper political conflict. Every statement from leaders, every legal step, and every public reaction may influence the final outcome. For now, the future remains unclear. Britain stands at a crossroads, facing decisions that could redefine its leadership, its political system, and its place in the world. What happens next will not only decide who holds power, it will shape the direction of the nation for years to come. Tonight, the country stands at one of the most uncertain moments in its modern political history. What began as a sudden legal decision has now grown into a national crisis that could reshape leadership, challenge institutions, and change the direction of government for years to come. The speed of events has left millions of people searching for answers, while leaders race to restore order and stability. Across the nation, a single question continues to echo: who will lead the country forward now? In times like these, strong institutions, clear leadership, and public trust become more important than ever. Yet this moment has tested all three at once, creating a situation few could have imagined just days ago. For many citizens, the crisis is not just about politics, it is about stability, economic security, and confidence in the future. When leadership is uncertain, everyday life can feel uncertain too. Families worry about rising costs, businesses question future policies, and communities look for reassurance that the system remains strong. At the same time, history shows that moments of crisis can also become moments of change. Political systems often grow stronger after facing serious challenges. Leaders are forced to answer difficult questions, institutions are tested, and new paths forward can emerge. Whether this moment leads to renewal or deeper conflict now depends on the decisions made in the coming days. Behind closed doors, intense discussions are likely continuing. Political leaders, legal experts, and senior officials are working to find solutions that can stabilise the situation. Every decision carries weight. Every move could shape the future balance of power and the direction of national policy. The world is also watching closely. Britain has long played a major role in global affairs, and any shift in its leadership sends signals far beyond its borders. Allies, partners, and international observers are waiting to see how the crisis unfolds and what it means for the global political landscape. But beyond the legal arguments and political strategies, this moment represents something bigger, a test of the country's democratic strength. Can its institutions handle such pressure? Can its leaders guide the nation through uncertainty? And can public trust be preserved in a time of confusion? The answers to these questions will not come overnight. The story is still unfolding, and each new development could bring fresh surprises. But what happens next may define a generation and leave a lasting mark on the nation's history. For now, the future remains uncertain. The political tension remains high and the country waits for clarity. This is a developing story, and the next chapter could change everything.